Will and Harper is out on Netflix, new documentary from Josh Greenbaum, responsible for things like Barb and Star Go to Vista del Mar and Strays. This movie is about Harper Steele and Will Ferrell. Ferrell is, of course, the well-known and well-liked comedian, actor, longtime Saturday Night Live performer. Harper lived most of her life as Andrew Steele. She was back then she was the head writer on SNL for many years, collaborated often with Ferrell on his movies, and became his long-time friend. And then in 2022, she came out as trans at the age of 61, I believe, saying she will now live her life as a woman and hoping her friendships would remain intact. And this documentary is essentially a road trip across America that these two take together in order to have some talks, spend some time, have some discussions about what the transition means for Harper, how she felt about herself psychologically for all these years prior, how she feels about herself now, how does Ferrell deal with this change, how does this impact how he views his friend. They touch on a lot of different subjects that sometimes can appear indelicate to talk about, to ask about. Some of them are explored comedically, most of them seriously. And what also happens is they visit all these different places that Harper liked to frequent as a man and trying to see if anything changed when going there as a trans woman. Places like a typical American bar, Texas barbecue places, little diners and gas stations across the Midwest. So I thought this was a really interesting picture, especially to be watched for people like me, because I don't know any trans people in real life. I haven't talked to any of them. I don't really know what they're going through. And in all honesty, I can't really imagine what that's like to feel like a different sex than the one you were born as. And admittedly, even after the film, I still don't feel like I now understand and can fully relate to that. It's still a strange, incomprehensible area of life to me, but I can say I understand it a little bit more, and I suddenly sympathize a whole lot more. Seeing the various interactions through the eyes of Harper was very eye-opening, and even more so hearing her explain her own psychological states, the feelings of being someone different throughout her life, a monster to society in her own words, of not fitting in, of having to either go to the middle of nowhere in order to live in peace outside of society, or even to end your own life. I think it's incredibly tragic what she and I imagine a lot of other trans people go through. And crucially, this isn't done as a preachy, condescending documentary. It doesn't feel like a biology lesson or anything like that, explaining things to you. It feels like Harper and Will are both trying to learn to navigate this new situation together and answer the questions as good friends that they are. Their relationship is very touching and feels real and grounded and down to earth. It's a quiet, simple film in the best way possible. And I think it ends up doing a very good job of humanizing trans people and making the audience relate to them more by telling their story. I hope it gets seen by more people like myself who perhaps feel a bit uncertain around the topics of gender identity. And I also hope it gets seen by people who hate trans people, who spew all these vile comments on the internet, because maybe it would help them understand it a little bit better too. Although realistically, I'm sure a very tiny fraction of them would even attempt to watch the movie and would not turn it off after 5 minutes, because I think a big part of hating entire groups of people as an idea is a refusal to understand them. So I don't think these people would try to do that. In any case, I thought this was a touching, heartfelt way to learn more about the trans experience. And I have massive respect for both Harper and Will for going through with this, because I'm sure it couldn't have been easy.